Good day everyone! Today, I will be discussing to you the topic about designing productive and satisfying work. After this lecture, you should be able to describe how the design of work tasks and roles can align with overall HR strategy, explain the steps in the process of job analysis, explain how to translate job analysis results into knowledge, skills, and ability list, and describe various approaches to job design. Perceiving the value of your work can increase your job satisfaction, help others at work, making extra efforts to help clients or coworkers can make your work feel more meaningful and increase your job satisfaction. How can a strategic design of work tasks improve an organization? It is through the process of assigning and coordinating work tasks called work design. And if the methods used for assigning and coordinating tasks are aligned with the overall HR strategy. So take a look at the diagram. Differentiation and integration. Standardization and decentralization, centralization, and mutual adjustment. As we go along with our topic, you will learn more about the topic strategic design. There are two key principles of work design. These are, first is differentiation. When we say differentiation, the assignment of different tasks so that they can specialize in doing things well. It is also the practice of managing individuals or groups of employees differently based on the value they deliver to an organization using workforce-based or job-based approaches. In a company, we can say that it is diverse, wherein every employee has its own role and they have a specific assigned jobs according to their expertise. Differentiation occurs in large companies when different departments, sections, or branch offices create their own corporate culture within the parent company's overall structure. For instance, the sales staff at a differentiated company will have a different approach to their task than the accounting department. The second key principle is integration. Integration is the coordination of the efforts of the employees, working together to achieve the goals. Integration relates to how the different areas of the company coordinate their operations. A highly integrated company has strong connections between departments and product lines, with each section working under a cohesive set of roles and strategies. Integrated companies are highly vertical and hierarchical in nature. These companies operate from a top-down mindset where the management dictates the structure of each department rather than allowing the individual departments to set their own agendas. Always remember that when differentiation and integration are aligned or work together, they help organizations to increase productivity and to improve customer satisfaction because that is the major goal of the success of a company or an organization. There are two elements of work design. First is autonomy. When we say autonomy, it is the extent to which individual workers are given the freedom and independence to plan and perform assigned tasks. Employees like to be able to make decisions and have flexibility in the roles. Most employees will have lowered motivation if they feel they have no freedom or are being micromanaged. A certain level of autonomy can lead to an improved employee experience and as a result, a boost in productivity. Greater autonomy provides two potential benefits to organizations. One benefit concerns information. In many cases, Frontline workers are closer to customers and products, and so they have information that a manager does not have. The workers can use this information, for example, to adapt quickly to change. A second potential benefit of high autonomy is increased motivation. People with a greater sense of autonomy feel more responsibility for their work. More autonomous employees are less likely to shirk their responsibilities, while people who don't feel autonomy often fail to do their share of work tasks. People are also more likely to go beyond minimum expectations without extra pay when autonomy is high. High autonomy may not be desirable for all workers, however, high autonomy can create coordination problems. An employee with a great deal of freedom to change the work process might do something that changes the work processes and outcomes for other employees. Such changes are particularly troublesome when the work process is carefully planned in advance. Workers with high autonomy can adapt to changing conditions and can do whatever is required to better meet the needs of customers. Another element of work design is interdependence. It is the extent to which an individual's work, actions, and outcomes are influenced by other people. Accumulation, serial, and reciprocal interdependence. So when interdependence is low, people work mostly by themselves. Each person completes his or her set of tasks without much help from or coordination with others. A good example is a group of sales representatives, each with an individual selling territory. At the other end of the spectrum is high interdependence, which occurs when people work together closely. Perhaps each team members complete a part of the task, and the work flows back and forth between team members. Each person adapts his or her inputs to the inputs of others. An example of high interdependence is found in a strategic planning team. Team members meet together and discuss issues to combine their knowledge and perceptions in order to arrive at shared decisions. Greater interdependence often corresponds with improved performance. When interdependence is high, people tend to feel greater responsibility for completing their task. People also report higher work satisfaction when their goals and tasks are interdependent with those of other workers. However, some organizations are most effective when there is little interdependence and employees work mostly by themselves. When employees do work together, the type of interdependence that is best for one organization is not necessarily the type that is best for another organization. In any organization, team members need to work independently and within a team. Even when you work independently or in separate teams, the task you complete and your performance affects other members and groups within the company. Linking autonomy and interdependence to HR. The figure shows how differences in autonomy and interdependence can be linked to HR strategy. This is the strategic framework for work design. Linking autonomy and interdependence to HR strategy focused on cost leadership. Organizations using cost HR strategies either bargain laborer or loyal soldier focus on efficiency. With cost strategies, one objective is to standardize jobs so that employees can quickly learn a set of relatively easy tasks. Efficiency is created by combining law autonomy and sequential processing. A cook at a fast food restaurant, for example, receives an order and follows clearly defined rules to cook the food, which is then delivered to someone who gives it to the customer. That is the standard. Another objective with cost strategies is to provide a way for each worker to become very skilled and efficient at performing certain tasks. Doing something over and over helps workers learn how to eliminate errors. Linking autonomy and interdependence to HR strategy focus on differentiation. Here, organizations that use differentiation HR strategies either committed expert or free agent, and it's focused on innovation. With differentiation, the goal is to create new products and services that are bigger than those offered by competitors. High autonomy and reciprocal processes encourage innovation. So people within the organization are more likely to meet this objective when they are free to try new approaches. Giving workers the freedom to experiment with new ideas help companies come up with new products. In addition, the close interaction between workers using reciprocal processes allows them to help each other and learn new things. How do employees know what they are supposed to do? We wouldn't generally expect all the employees in an organization to perform the same task. Employees specialize in certain tasks and the people adopt specific roles. These tasks and roles are usually summarized in terms of jobs. And the job is a collection of tasks that a person is required to perform at work. The idea of being employed in a job is so common that many people think in terms of jobs when they describe themselves to others. But how are jobs defined? Why are some tasks grouped into a certain job while other tasks are grouped into a different job? These questions highlight the importance of properly understanding how work is designed. Of course, employees are hired into a job. A job is a collection of tasks that a person is required to perform at work. Jobs are identified through a process known as job analysis. When we say job analysis, it is a procedure through which you determine the duties and responsibilities, nature of the jobs, and finally, to decide qualifications, skills, and knowledge to be required for an employee to perform particular job. What are the phases of job analysis? First is getting organized. Determine who will do the analysis and get top management by end the process. So, an important issue to be decided during this phase is who will perform the analysis. Some organizations have employees who have the necessary expertise to perform job analysis. Other organizations hire external consultants to help. In either case, accurate job analysis depends on identifying people who have the skills needed to thoroughly analyze the jobs. Careful plans describing needed resources such as staff, support, and computer assets can help to ensure success. During the organizing phase, it is also necessary to make sure that key decision makers support analysis plans. No matter how carefully procedures are planned, problems will arise and top management support will be necessary to make sure that the analysis proceeds successfully. Second is choosing jobs. Choose jobs that are critical to the success of the company and have a sufficient number of employees in them. Of course, the goal in any organization is to analyze all jobs. but constraints on budgets and staff time make it necessary to choose only some of these jobs. As you might expect, high priority should be given to jobs that are important to the success of the organization. Particular emphasis should be placed on jobs in which large numbers of people are employed. Focusing analysis on jobs that are both important and widely held ensures that efforts will be concentrated in areas where improvement can have its largest impact on making the organization successful. Next is reviewing knowledge. Review what has already been written about the job. So reviewing knowledge involves learning what is already known about similar jobs in other organizations. One important source of information is the Occupational Information Network. So this is an online source of information about jobs and careers, which was developed by the U.S. Department of Labor. So the network called ONET is online. It contains information for over 1,000 occupations. So a visitor to the website simply types in a common job title and it's presented with a list of tasks that are normally associated with that job, along with other information. Next is selecting job agents. So job agents are the people who will provide the job information. In many cases, the best people to provide this information are job incumbents or the people currently doing the job. These employees are very familiar with day-to-day tasks, but one potential problem with using current employees is that they may emphasize what is actually done rather than what should be done. Another source of information is supervisors. Supervisors may not be as familiar with the details of the job, but they can often provide clarification about the task that they would like to see done. A third source of information is professionally trained analysts who make careers out of studying jobs. Although such specialists can provide an outside perspective, they may not be as familiar with how things are done in a particular organization. The next step is to actually collect information about the job. A common method for collecting information is the job analysis interview, a face-to-face interaction in which a trained interviewer asks job agents about their duties and responsibilities. Agents can be interviewed individually or in groups. In either case, the interview should be structured so that the same questions are asked of everyone. Job analysis interviews can be useful for learning unique aspects of a particular job. Interviews can, however, be time-consuming and costly. For collecting information is the job analysis questionnaire. Here, agents respond to written questions about the task they perform on the job. And the third common method is observation. Job analysis observation requires job analysts to watch people as they work and to keep notes about the task being performed. So this method can provide excellent information about jobs involving frequently repeated tasks. Next is collecting job description. So create a job description that identifies tasks, responsibilities, and working conditions of the job like task analysis inventory, critical incidents technique, and position analysis questionnaire. So a job description is a series of task statements that describes what is to be done by people performing a job. So this description focuses on duties and responsibilities and usually consists of list of actions that employees perform on the job being described. An example of a job description for the job of computer programmer is shown in table 4.1. The final step uses job analysis information to create job specifications. Job specifications identify the knowledge, skills, and abilities that workers need in order to perform the task listed in the job description. An example of job specification for the position of computer programmer is shown in Table 4.2. Of course, job specifications are different from the job description. So job description focus more on what is done, whereas job specification focus on who is most likely to be able to perform the task successfully. So let's look more closely at how information is gathered in step number 5 of the job analysis process. Many methods have been developed for collecting job analysis information. In this section, we examine 3 of the methods: the task analysis inventory, the critical incidents technique, and the position analysis questionnaire. So the first 2 are general techniques that provide a methodology for analyzing jobs. Although several different consulting firms market application of these techniques, the principles used are not unique to these firms. A number of common principles underlie specific practices, and we describe these principles rather than the specific practices of a particular consulting firm. So the third tool we discuss, the position analysis questionnaire, is a bit different. It is a specific analysis tool that is marketed by a single firm. So now let's discuss it one by one. So task analysis inventory. The job agents provide ratings concerning a large number of tasks. Most analyses require responses for at least 100 different task statements. These task statements usually begin with an action verb that describes a specific activity. For example, explains company policies to newly hired workers, and analyzes data to determine the cost of hiring each new employee. One rating is for frequency or time spent, and the other is for importance. Ratings for frequency of performing the task range from never performed to performed most of the time. Ratings might also be made for time spent on the task. However, ratings of frequency and time spent essentially measure the same thing. Ratings for task importance usually range from not important to extremely important. Another method is critical incidents technique. Identifies good and bad on the job behaviors. Job agents are asked to generate a number of statements that describe behaviors they consider particularly helpful or harmful for accomplishing work. Each statement includes a description of the situation and the actions that determined whether the outcome was desirable or undesirable. Here's an example of results from an analysis using the critical incidents technique. Another method is position analysis questionnaire, or PAQ. It is a structured questionnaire that assesses the work behaviors required for a job, such as information input, where and how a worker obtains needed information such as education and or experience. Another one is mental processes, reasoning, and decision-making activities. Workout, physical actions required for the job, as well as tools or devices used. Another one is relationships with other persons, the interactions and social connections that our workers form with others. Next is job context, or the physical and social surroundings where work activities are performed. And lastly, other job characteristics. These are the activities, conditions, or characteristics that are important but not contained in the other 5 dimensions. The Position Analysis Questionnaire, or PAQ, which consists of multiple pages, is then transcribed into smaller document called a job description by the job analyst. The job description consists of 2 parts: the description of the task and responsibilities related with a organizational position, and the job specification. The job description is used in multiple human resources processes such as recruiting, compensation, and training. The job specification focuses attention on knowledge and skills, experiences, and abilities. Now let's talk about competency modeling. As work activities have become more knowledge-based, competency modeling has emerged as a new method. Competency modeling describes the work activities in terms of competencies needed to perform the job. Competencies include knowledge and skills, experiences, and abilities, but competency modeling also seeks to capture such things as motivation, values, and interest. Factor thus that add at the can-do characteristics of people, also the will-do ones. Here are the steps in competency modeling. Step 1, you have to determine data collection method. You have also to determine who will collect data. Who is the person responsible for that? You have to use interviews and focus groups. So who are your respondents or participants? The second step is collect data. You have to use open-ended questions or probe for specifics. You have to also have an agenda and stick to it. Ensure that everyone participates. Step 3, direct observation of incumbents. So you have to watch people as they perform job. Step 4, develop an interim model. You have to identify themes and patterns. Start with a general idea. Be open to new information. And step 5, you have to test the interim model. Use focus groups and your survey. And step 6, validate the model. Assess correlations with the model and performance ratings, and eliminate unneeded categories. Job analysis and legal issues. So job analysis results help many organizations determine whether they are complying with requirements of the American with Disabilities Act, or ADA. ADA guidelines make an important distinction between essential and non-essential tasks. For a disabled employee to be qualified for a position, he or she must be able to perform all essential tasks with reasonable accommodations. When an organization makes hiring or promotion decisions that have discriminatory effects, the organization can defend itself successfully by showing that it is based its decisions on good, solid analysis of the job involved. Next time you visit a sandwich shop, take a moment to observe the work processes. Does the same person who takes your order also fix the sandwich and then take your payment? Or does one person take your order, another fix the sandwich, and still another accept your payments? Some shops use a process in which a single employee serves each customer. In other shops, each employee specializes in only one part of the service. Job analysis procedures would find that each person working in the first shop must perform a lot of different tasks, whereas employees in the second shop perform a limited set of tasks over and over. Job analysis thus provides information about who does what but it doesn't tell us anything about how the tasks were combined into jobs in the first place. The processes of job design focuses on determining what tasks will be grouped together to form employee jobs. This process of job design is critical, as nearly half of the differences in workers' attitudes and behavior can be traced to factors such as task design, social interaction, and work conditions. Let's now proceed to job design. The process of job design focuses on determining what tasks will be grouped together to form employee jobs. And there are four general approaches to grouping work tasks. These are mechanistic, motivational, perceptual, and biological. In mechanistic approach, with integration of technology, job design is viewed from the perspective of creating an efficient machine that transforms labor inputs into goods and services like factories. Industrial engineers often use analysis designed to find the work methods that take the least time, such as time and motion studies. In the motivational approach is aimed at increasing employees' enjoyment of their work and thus increasing their effort. Jobs are designed not simply to get work done as quickly as possible, but also to provide workers with tasks they find meaningful and enjoyable. Also, a model of motivational job design is the job characteristics model, which focuses on building intrinsic motivation. So when we say intrinsic motivation, it exists when employees do work because they enjoy it, not necessarily because they receive pay and other rewards. Next is perceptual approach. The basic objective of the perceptual approach is to simplify mental demands on workers and thereby decrease errors. Safety and prevention of accidents are critical. The perceptual approach to job design usually results in work characterized by sequential processing and low autonomy. And lastly is biological approach. And this approach is associated with ergonomics, which concerns methods of designing work to prevent discomfort and physical injury. Job tasks are assessed in terms of strength, endurance, and stress put on joints. Work processes are then designed to eliminate movements that can lead to physical injury or excessive fatigue. How can work be designed to improve family life? As we all know, workers can experience work to family conflict when the stress they feel at work is carried into their family environment. So that's really a big problem. They can also feel the same conflict when stress at home carries into their work environment. Flex time and compressed work weeks were introduced to combat both types of work or family conflict. So work-life balance is very important. Flexible scheduling allows people to coordinate their schedules with a partner and reduce the conflict associated with being a parent and an employee. So two of the most common forms of flexible scheduling are flex time and compressed work week. So when we say flex time, it provides employees with the freedom to decide when they will arrive at and leave work. And in compressed work week enables employees to have full-time positions but work fewer than 5 days a week. Many organizations allow employees to work at location other than company facilities. And The most common arrangement is for employees to work at home, which is very evident today that we are in the middle of the pandemic. So this practice is often called telework. And that ends my presentation. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned a lot today.